Hi, I'm Carrie, and thank you so much for joining me, for taking a moment to allow me to reach out to you today. For those of you that don't know me so well, I am a mom of 3 precious little kids. I live in Germany with my husband. He's German, I'm South African. And for us South Africans, experiencing winter, snow over Christmas is always such a highlight. So I'm always very trigger happy, taking loads of photos of my kids around the Christmas tree, playing in the snow, and I always get the best feedback. People are so kind on Facebook and Instagram. Wow, you've got such good kids. Wow, they're so beautiful. Wow, I love their outfits, etc. And yes, I feel so blessed to be a mom with such cute kids, and they're just adorable, and they really are my sunshine, my rainbow, and my stars. They're amazing. But we all know that behind the beautiful filters, behind these picture perfect presentations in a way that we present on Facebook, Instagram, and other platforms, is a reality that is not always so full of sunshine and rainbows. We know that we don't live on the mountaintops. There are the day-to-day valleys. There are the day-to-day challenges. And for me as a mom with 2 kids on the spectrum, day-to-day life can be a challenge sometimes. It's not all fun. For us, I know my husband, when our daughter was much younger, picked up certain behaviors, especially social behaviors that were different, awkward, and in certain areas she seemed to be developing at a rate of knots, and in other aspects, areas she seemed to be far behind. And he just said, let's get her checked by a psychologist. Let's just have a look and see if there is something more to this than just maybe certain milestone delays. And because of COVID, we had to wait for a good 2 years. And I can still remember before I took her to see the psychologist, I was still umming and ahhing. This child was doing so well. She got such positive feedback from nursery school, from kindergarten. And I just thought, as a mom, I think we're kind of in denial. I thought to myself, she's such a happy kid. She doesn't socialize well, but she's a happy kid and she is so smart. But took her to the psychologist, the head psychologist of a very good clinic in our area, and she interacted with our daughter, and it was very quickly apparent that our daughter was different on some levels, special. And we had to fill out a lot of forms. There was a long protocol, and she got diagnosed with Asperger's, which is a very high functioning autism, ASD, with ADHD. And I had this piece of paper, I had this diagnosis, and I thought, I don't think I'm even going to need it. My child is so smart and she's so ready for school. She went for her school readiness test and they said, wow, this child is more than ready. She's so motivated. She's so smart. Go for it. And come the first day of school, and all the kids, I can still remember, got their big school cone, which is like, it looks like a big school cone. And we filled it with treats and stationery and toys to make the first day of school special. And we invited Granny and Grandpa, her German Oma and Opa, to come along with for the opening ceremony. And then Mommy and Daddy were invited to go with her into the classroom to observe her in the classroom, and they got a picture to color. And I can still remember the teacher had given each of the children a symbol next to their name. And my daughter had been given a pear. She didn't like pears. She totally flipped out. She ran to the front of the classroom. She couldn't be consoled. The teacher had said to her, don't worry, sweetie. You don't have to eat the pear. She just couldn't be consoled. And I can still remember this sort of sinking feeling on the inside for my husband and I, as we could just see. She just ticked differently. She just reacted differently to the other kids. And it was apparent with body language as well as just the ability to control impulse and emotion in that moment. And in the weeks thereafter, there were constant meltdowns. There were a lot of challenges, not academically, but socially, more socially and emotionally for her. And I came forward and I let her teacher know about her diagnosis. We since then had many, many meetings. It was not an easy first grade, a class 1 for her. And fortunately, I got to work very closely with the teacher and we've overcome a lot of obstacles. But then saw how this diagnosis really was kind of a weapon in my hand as a mom to be able to get certain help that she needed. And thereafter, my husband and I, we started to do a lot of research in terms of just therapies and protocols we could put in place and certain hacks and helps. And myself being a teacher, having a passion for kids, understanding that kids are individuals and unique in their needs, having taught all around the world in many different social systems and many different school systems, I really do have a passion for kids and have some experience with PuzzleKinder, special needs kids. And of course, it having hit very, very close to home made me more passionate about researching, about finding out also from other moms, what have they done, other caregivers, what are their successes, what are their needs. And soon after we got our daughter diagnosed and just filling out all the forms for her, suddenly we realized, hey, all of these questions that we were answering, all of these crosses that we're having to make, very often were reminding us of one of our twin boys all the time. His name kept on coming up, but this is our son. And it led us to then go to the psychologist and say, hey, we think one of our twin boys might also have autism. Could we at least go through the process? And luckily we had a foot in the door. We got him to see the psychologist quite quickly, and it was very, very quickly clear to the psychologist, and it was already apparent to us that he had autism. We had to have a number of forms filled out from his teachers at kindergarten, from us, and from the psychologist. There were, of course, a protocol to follow, and he was diagnosed with early childhood autism. And we very quickly also saw hurdles in kindergarten where he was overwhelmed. And they say when you know one child with autism, you know one child. Between our son and our daughter, the differences, it's really like night and day in terms of their needs, their challenges. With my son, it's a lot more milestones that he hasn't met, even academically, cognitively, etc. And so his needs are very different. So I've been very, very busy doing a lot of research. I have even studied psychology, done my honors, up to my honors in psychology, and in terms of knowing how the brain ticks and behaviors, etc., that really is a passion of mine. And like I said, it being so close to home, it's really been on the top of my agenda. And I work less hours, even as a teacher. I work at a Montessori school, that I can really be invested in my kids and be giving more time to giving them what they need. They currently are undergoing different therapies. And about 6 months ago, we were at a clinic, a rehabilitation clinic, they call it, where it's just intensive therapy sessions, a lot of visits to the doctor, so that they can give you protocol, that they can give you specific helps and tips and medication if needed for your kids. And we were there for a month, and I must say it was a very, very difficult month. It kind of felt like we were in a hospital with our kids doing up to 8 to 10, 12 therapy sessions a day. It was very, very challenging. And I must say, my biggest takeaway from that time was that I needed to become my child's expert. I needed to become the expert, because no one was going to be more invested in my child than me. No one was going to be prepared to fight in the ring for my child with blood, sweat, and tears. And no one had the ability to observe my child as closely as me. And therefore, I engaged in a lot of conversation with moms, just waiting for our kids to go to their different therapy sessions. And a lot of the feedback, a lot of what we got out of it was a lot of very generic, a lot of group sessions that weren't tailored specifically to our kids' needs, but the stories, the takeaways, the hacks, the tips, the helps from other caregivers were really a godsend for my husband and I. And that's kind of spurred me on to want to be sharing these videos, because since then, it's been over 2 years, and we've really seen a lot of things we've put into practice, a lot of hacks that we're currently using, therapies, treatments that are really helping our kids, really bringing them forward. And I'm wanting to create a space to be able to share with other caregivers in the hopes that you can find some inspiration, some motivation, maybe just be asking the right questions to become your own experts. And by that, I don't mean Google the heck out of everything. I know we can so quickly become overwhelmed, but maybe just be asking the right questions, be using maybe the right resources or the right tools to be able to bring your kids that one step further, to be able to encourage each other, because we need community. We need to, in a way, stick together. And very often the biggest helps for me have been from other caregivers, definitely professionals, definitely in the medical field. The psychologists have been wonderful, and we have a very supportive community. But just hearing from other parents and other moms, what they've been doing and what's been serving their children have been a big inspiration. So I am going to be sharing tips and tricks and hacks and info. I even want to be doing interviews with other experts, teachers, other parents, so that you can be hearing from them what's really working for them. And I'm going to be trying to do that on a weekly basis. So if you think that's something for you, or maybe that's something for someone else that you know, or maybe you're not even sure if your child is on the spectrum, if they're a PuzzleKinder, you're not even sure, but you would like to just start off on the journey, just maybe be asking some questions. Maybe your child is just highly sensitive. A lot of these protocols, a lot of these ideas or hacks can help you, even if your child is not on the spectrum. So I really encourage you, share this with family, with friends, with people that you know that would maybe be insightful, maybe be encouraging for them. Like this video, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thanks a lot. Bye.